What if I told you nearly half of all Americans now have a negative attitude toward Islam? If a new poll is right, that number is greater than right after 9/11. Muslim groups in the U.S. blame the media, but Robert Spencer says Muslims only have themselves to blame, the author of the Politically Incorrect Guide to Islam. Ahmed Younis is the national director of the Muslim Public Affairs Council. He disagrees. Mr. Younis, why do you disagree?
Because it's very problematic to say that Islamists have themselves to blame. Of course they do. But who do we, the 1.2 billion Muslims of the world who are combating extremism in our communities, fighting to defend our homelands and to defend our religion's integrity from the extremists to blame? Certainly we have to say that the media as a forum for discussion has certainly seen a dumbing down of terrorism issues and Islam issues in public discourse. And it's not about whether it's a good or bad perception of Islam and Muslims. It's about whether it's an accurate perception of Islam and Muslims, because that is what will lead to America's ability to defend itself.
Robert?
Well, the problem is that it's not so much an inaccurate picture as a picture of what the jihad terrorists themselves are doing. We saw the man drive the car through the pit in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and he said he did it to spread the will of Allah. We see the cartoon-inspired violence, an absurd thing around the world, with people in London holding up signs that say, "Behead those who insult Islam." We see violent attacks around the world, in London, in Madrid, in New York, and so many other places. And every time the perpetrators ascribe their actions to Islamic
therefore we have a
principles.
choice. And therefore
so
we have a
extremists, the problem is that the supposed vast majority of peaceful Muslims is not making any concerted, organized effort to combat this. We don't see large-scale organized demonstrations against Osama bin Laden. We don't see that.
Let him answer that. Go ahead.
In Pursuit of Justice, the Jurisprudence of Human Rights in Islam, 600 pages of classical Islamic discourse arguing for international human rights norms in Arabic, Urdu, and other languages to convince Muslims that this is not a part. National Grassroots Campaign to Fight Terrorism, Protecting Mosques in America. Look, if you see extremists argue that what they're doing is from Islam, you have two options. Either to allow real Muslims to argue against them that what they're doing is not legitimate so that they cannot get more people into their camps, or you can bolster their Islamic legitimacy by agreeing that what they're doing is pursuant to Islam. Forwarding and furthering the arguments of the Bin Ladens and the Zawahiris and the Zarqawis of the world when you engage in this kind of a conversation.
Either-or distinction here. This is absolutely false. It is not up to me or to any other non-Muslim to decide what is authentic Islam and what isn't.
Well, it seems to be
because any large-scale organized effort, either in America or around the world, to combat this.
Robert, that's not true. You know that that's not. You know that's not true.
I most certainly do not know that that's not true. It's absolutely true.
Okay,
well, international demonstrations about these cartoons. Where are the international demonstrations against Osama bin Laden?
I mean, they have been happening and they continue to happen, and we as Muslims do not have to demonstrate on the streets.
You haven't even been doing
What we do, sir,
is
we engage.
Well, to be fair, Robert, to be fair, Ahmed has done it on this show. But Ahmed, let me ask you this.
And
Robert
I did it last Friday on O'Reilly's show.
Robert has a point.
The question is, it's easy
Robert, please, I just want Ahmed to answer this. Do you think, Ahmed, that the fear on the part of many moderate Muslims, whatever you want to call them, is that they'll be killed if they protest, and that's why many of them aren't quiet?
Of course they do.
Absolutely not. The average American that is not a Muslim, that has a Muslim friend, and if that Muslim friend might be their only Muslim friend, they will tell you that that individual condemns terrorism and condemns Bin Laden and condemns attacks on the Western world.
Do they say that loud?
Absolutely, but they don't
Robert, you doubt that they do.
They don't have forums and avenues to do so.
The problem is,
and people like me have Fox News to talk to the American people through.
All right, let Robert answer that. Go ahead.
Of course they've condemned terrorism. It's easy to condemn terrorism. Everybody condemns terrorism. That's not enough.
I just condemned Bin Laden and
of terrorism last year. We saw the
Okay.
condemnation of terrorism last year from the FIC Council of North America. It did not specify who the innocent civilians are. So don't attack innocent civilians. Osama bin Laden says Americans are innocent.
We'll take a break here and we'll save some time.